Hey everybody, my name is Jose Tutiven, also known as Tutes. I am a photographer based in the Bronx, New York, and I actually got hands-on the new Thypoch Simeras, the 28 and 35 millimeter 1.4, and I'm excited to show you exactly how I'm going to use these today. So my plan for today is to actually meet with a model and go to one of my favorite islands in the Bronx, which is called City Island. I've been there plenty of times, mostly for food, but I also love the atmosphere there. And there's a lot of great places to shoot environmental shots and also a lot of great places to shoot indoor shots. So can't wait to show what these lenses are capable of doing. So I'm gonna walk you through my setup real quick. I have the Leica SL2. I currently have on the M mount for the 35 Simera. And I'm gonna be using this more of a digital aspect. And then for my M6, I actually put on the 28 millimeter one. So I'll be shooting film on this. Okay, so what are my first impressions? First of all, they feel very solid. The quality build looks really well done. This is the silver version of the 28 Simera. I definitely fell in love with the whole concept of this, how small and tiny it is, but also it feels like very well built. When I'm shooting my model, this will probably benefit in a scale aspect, getting more information of the space within my frame. I think that this is gonna be very cool because it has a f1.4 stop. The fall off and the depth of field on this will probably be really amazing.
The coolest thing about the 28 is that I'm so close that with a 35, I will only be able to see probably like her chin to like the top of her hair. But with the 28, I can actually grab all her hair and actually a portion of her body as well as the clothing that she's wearing on top. That's really awesome, love it, beautiful.
Now I also have the 35 Simera Thypoch. Again, same concept, very small, very sturdy, very well built. These are all manual by the lens. These are all for Leica M mounts. I'm a portrait photographer mainly. I focus on a lot of faces. 35 for me, and this one in particular, the 1.4, will give me a lot of flexibility in shooting portrait as well as a little bit of landscape in the environment that the model is in.
So what I want to do is in this one, I wanted to capture her, a little bit of backdrop here, but at the same time not losing the substance and the feeling of her personality.
I'm actually love using these. The 35 has always been one of my go-to lenses to shoot portraits. And I think that the way that this is built, the way that's small, and also the fluidity of how the focus rim is, I think this is gonna be very comfortable for me when I'm using on site. One of the coolest things about these lenses is that they have this feature where the actual focus ring, you can either have as an option to make it click, which is really cool. Or if you're doing video or you're a cinematographer, I think they prefer better, is that you can actually remove the actual click aspect noise of it and just does a smooth transition into each focus and the focal ring.
There's two concepts here that I think of. Do I want a lot of information in this shot, which would be the 28th, or do I want to just focus on just a little bit less environment and more of just her? I'm actually gonna use the 28 because I want more information from the background, but not lose the actual like concept of the mood of the shot, which is she is, for me, is the focus right now.
I rarely use 28. Probably rarely have a wide lens in my arsenal. However, this 28, when I'm shooting actual portraits at 1.4, the actual depth of field on this is really amazing. It's not only sharp at the focus point, but the fall off on this, actually I was so impressed by this. So one of the coolest features that these lenses have is they have this thing called the automatic depth of field indicator. Now what that is that they have these little holes here that get filled up specifically with the color red. And it basically provides you a visual of how the distance of your focal length is going to be. So it's really a creative way of visualizing your depth of field. I think it's a cool feature on both of these. I've never seen it before, so this is actually one of the coolest things about these lenses. So one of the other coolest accessories that these lenses have is the hoods. They have the standard circular hood, which is nice and tight, very cool, seems very secure. And then you have the styling of the hood, the actual square hood, which is really cool. I really like these. It's a nice little retro look, but it also helps maintain sharpness in direct light.
So currently we're in one of my favorite restaurants in City Island, and I'm gonna try to capture the environment with this portrait as much as possible. So I'm gonna use a 28. This time I'm gonna use the M6. So it's a more manual lens with my Leica M6, and I'm just gonna see if I can get her as close as possible.
These are M mount lenses, which means that they're all manual. Now, for me, as a photographer, I personally love shooting manual lenses. If you want to go away into more like the feel of being more in control, obviously manual is the way to go. These are particularly for the M mount standard cameras, which is usually Leicas, which I use, and these are actually feel really good for the M mounts.
Wonderful. I'm still very close, but I can still focus on her eyes.
So who would benefit from these lenses? Personally, I enjoy shooting manual because I have a lot more control and it slows me down a little bit on my process. It makes me think 3 or 4 times on how I really look at the image and try to get the image close to what I feel I visualize it on my mind. These manual lenses help me get to that point a lot efficient. I enjoy the actual concept of that retro manual feel where you feel like you're actually not disconnected with the actual place and environment, you're actually connected to the environment as well as you're shooting. We talk about the actual different focal lengths of these. Like the 28 for me, I have rarely use 28 when I shoot outdoors. However, I think these are really great when you want to capture so much of the space that either you're shooting a person or you're just shooting a venue or some sort of environment. But this with a model or somebody as a subject can create so much substance because of the scale of how much information you're getting in the 28 millimeter.
I checked out this spot and it's really one of my favorite spots because there's a lot of like texture and you can get a little bit of a storyline here. I like the greenery, I like the pop of colors, and obviously the model is gonna, with G, it's gonna pop really cool here. For me, it's like a nice little concept of just like chilling, relaxing, but getting a storytelling of the environment really speaks to me a lot.
One of the things I found very challenging with these lenses is they come with this infinity lock feature. I'm not used to infinity lock features, so when you go to infinity, it actually stays there and you really can't move it. You actually have to press it down and then it'll be able to release itself. Pretty much not something that I think I find useful. However, that's just my own personal opinion. Maybe it will be useful for some other people, but for me, this is something that I feel like was very challenging for me.
So we actually were driving by, we saw this little bench right by the river near City Island. So this would be a nice little environmental shot, which is really cool. I love the atmosphere, very green. And I think she's in an element right now. She said she loved it. So why not take advantage? So I'm gonna shoot a little bit with my digital with this, I'm gonna do the 28 because I really feel like the 28 will do it justice here, especially how she spread out. I get a lot more in the frame.
So overall, I am extremely satisfied with these lenses. These lenses were actually really fun to work with. It didn't stop me from my process of like enjoying photography using these lenses, which is a major plus for me. It actually gave me the results I needed, which was like the sharpness at the focus point and also like the softness of the fall off, which is like so important for me. I'm looking for a lot of timeless images and this actually falls into that caliber that I'm looking for. So honestly, having these in my arsenal, it's a plus and a benefit, so I can't wait to start using them more. Moving on. Okay, so guys, this is it for me. If you have any questions about my experience with these lenses, please shoot us a comment. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to the Adorama channel. It's very important. I love these guys. These guys have been family to me, and I really thank you guys for letting me use these lenses for this great opportunity. All right, this is Tutes calling out. Peace.